The use of artificial intelligence, or AI, in fraud detection is becoming more common. According to Markets and Markets, the global AI fraud detection market was valued at $19.2 billion in 2022 and is projected to reach $46.9 billion by 2027 at a CAGR of 19.6%. This growth can be attributed to several factors, including the increasing prevalence of online fraud, the growing need for real-time fraud detection, and the increasing adoption of AI-powered fraud detection solutions across industries such as banking, finance, e-commerce, and insurance. So in this video, we are going to explain how banks use AI to detect suspicious transactions in real time. If that sounds interesting, do well to watch this video till the end. Also, before we continue with the video, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates on AI and other tech-related stuff. Now let's get into the video. There are basically 3 steps that AI takes to flag suspicious transactions in real time. They are collecting transaction data, analyzing the data to identify patterns and anomalies, and flagging suspicious transactions. In the first step, all the transaction data is collected. What does this mean? It simply means that the AI gets data on all the money coming into and leaving a bank account. These transactions could involve fund transfers, credit card payments, direct debit payments, ATM withdrawals, debit card purchases, and so on. The AI then keeps track of the amount of money involved in each transaction, the account numbers of both the payer and the recipient, the date and time of the transaction, the merchant or business location where the transaction takes place, and the IP address of the device from which the transaction is initiated. In the second step, the AI analyzes the data to identify patterns and anomalies. How does this work? Simple. Once the AI has gathered enough transaction data, it can start looking for patterns and anomalies that may indicate fraudulent activity. It can do this by comparing the current transaction to previous transactions made by the same user, and spotting unusual activity, or by comparing the current transaction to other transactions taking place at the same time and flagging those that fall outside of normal parameters. For example, the AI may notice that a particular user has never made a transaction above $100. But suddenly, there is a transaction of $5,000 from that account. In this case, the AI can flag the transaction as potentially fraudulent because it deviates from the established pattern of the user's behavior. Or the AI could also compare the IP address of a particular transaction to a database of known fraudulent IP addresses and flag the transaction if there is a match. In the third step, the AI flags suspicious transactions. When the AI identifies a transaction that deviates from established patterns or matches known fraudulent indicators, it can flag the transaction as potentially fraudulent and send an alert to the bank's fraud detection team for further review. By automating this process, AI can help banks detect and prevent fraudulent activity in real time without the need for manual review of every single transaction. There are different AI techniques used by banks to analyze customer transactions. One of them is machine learning. Machine learning is a type of AI that involves training algorithms on historical data to identify patterns and make predictions about future outcomes. For example, a bank could use a machine learning algorithm to analyze customer transaction data and identify patterns that indicate fraudulent activity. The algorithm would be trained on historical data that includes both fraudulent and non-fraudulent transactions. By analyzing the data, the algorithm would learn to identify patterns that are associated with fraudulent activity, such as unusual transaction amounts or transaction frequencies. Once the algorithm has been trained, it can be used to analyze real-time transaction data and identify potentially fraudulent activity. Another AI technique used by banks is deep learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning that uses multiple layers of artificial neurons to analyze data and identify patterns. Deep learning algorithms can be particularly effective at identifying complex patterns that may not be easily detectable through traditional machine learning algorithms or rule-based systems. For example, a bank could use a deep learning algorithm to analyze customer transaction data and identify patterns that indicate fraudulent activity. The algorithm could be trained on historical data that includes both fraudulent and non-fraudulent transactions, and the algorithm would learn to identify complex patterns that are associated with fraudulent activity. Once trained, The algorithm can be used to analyze real-time transaction data and identify potentially fraudulent activity. And finally, another AI technique used by banks is natural language processing. Natural language processing is a type of AI that focuses on understanding and interpreting human language. Natural language processing can be used by banks to analyze unstructured data, such as text or speech, to identify potentially fraudulent activity. For example, a bank could use natural language processing to analyze customer support call transcripts to identify potentially fraudulent activity. The system would be trained on a set of call transcripts that have been identified as fraudulent or non-fraudulent, and it would learn to identify patterns in the language that are associated with fraudulent activity. Once trained, the system can be used to analyze new call transcripts in real time and flag those that show signs of potentially fraudulent activity. It is important to note that these techniques are not mutually exclusive, and banks often use a combination of machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing to analyze customer transaction data and identify potentially fraudulent activity. Additionally, these techniques are constantly evolving and improving as new data and insights become available. You might think this is all just too complicated and technically challenging to be implemented in reality, but some banks have already implemented AI technology to detect fraudulent activities. Let's discuss one of them. First, let's talk about what fraud detection software is. Fraud detection software is a crucial tool for businesses that helps them to identify potentially fraudulent activities in real time. These activities can include credit card fraud, identity theft, money laundering, and other financial crimes. Fraud detection software uses advanced algorithms and machine learning to analyze vast amounts of data and detect patterns that may indicate fraudulent activity. The software can detect anomalies, inconsistencies, and other red flags that may not be apparent to the human eye, helping businesses to mitigate risks and prevent losses. It can also be integrated with other systems to provide a comprehensive view of customer behavior and detect cross-channel fraud. Overall, fraud detection software is an essential tool for businesses looking to protect themselves against the ever-evolving threat of fraud. So now let's take a look at how one of the biggest banks in the world, HSBC, is implementing AI to detect fraud. HSBC is a global banking and financial services company with operations in over 70 countries and territories. The bank serves millions of customers worldwide and processes a huge volume of transactions every day. To ensure the security of its customers and the integrity of its operations, HSBC has implemented a robust fraud detection system that leverages AI technology. One of the ways that HSBC is using AI to detect fraud is through the use of machine learning algorithms. Machine learning is a type of AI that allows systems to learn from data and improve their performance over time without being explicitly programmed. HSBC uses machine learning algorithms to analyze vast amounts of transaction data and identify patterns that may indicate fraudulent activity. For example, the bank may use algorithms to detect unusual spending patterns or transactions that take place outside of a customer's normal geographic area. By analyzing this data, the algorithms can identify higher-risk transactions that may require further scrutiny. Another way that HSBC is using AI to detect fraud is through the use of natural language processing. Natural language processing is a type of AI that enables computers to understand and process human language. HSBC uses natural language processing to analyze unstructured data, such as text and speech, to identify potentially fraudulent activity. For example, the bank may use this technology to analyze customer support call transcripts to identify calls that may involve fraudulent activity. By analyzing the text of the conversations, natural language processing algorithms can identify keywords and phrases that may indicate fraud, such as requests for wire transfers or changes to account settings. In addition to these technologies, HSBC also uses AI-powered chatbots to assist with the fraud detection process. Chatbots are computer programs that can simulate conversation with human users. HSBC's AI-powered chatbots can interact with customers in real time to verify their identities and prevent unauthorized access to their accounts. The chatbots can ask customers questions such as their account number or date of birth to confirm their identities. Before granting them access to their accounts, This helps to prevent unauthorized individuals from accessing customer accounts and committing fraud. Overall, HSBC's use of AI to detect fraud has resulted in significant improvements in the bank's fraud detection capabilities. By leveraging the power of machine learning, natural language processing, and chatbots, HSBC is able to analyze vast amounts of data in real time to identify potentially fraudulent activity. This has helped the bank to reduce the incidence of fraud, improve the efficiency of its fraud detection process, and enhance the overall security of its operations. If you found this video helpful and informative, please let us know in the comments section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates on AI and other tech-related stuff. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.